What's up, YouTube? It's Kenny again. Want to talk a little bit about something different today, okay? Normally, I talk a lot about stocks that I think are going to double or triple and, stocks that I'm making short-term plays on and stuff like that. But I want to give you some value today, or attempt to anyway. First of all, let me just say, as usual, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a truck driver driving across the country, researching and trading stocks. I will not be held responsible for anything you do in the stock market. All right? Trade at your own risk. I'm not your mama. Okay? And also, like to ask you, hit that subscribe button, guys. Trying to grow the channel. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave me a comment and let me know what you think about these stocks. So let's talk about something different. All right? As you know, I have two different portfolios, all right? I have my Roth IRA, and that's where I do the majority of my in and out trades, my swing trades, daily moves, and all that kind of stuff. I also have another portfolio on Webull that I use just to let things sit and just hold for the long term until eventually I decide I want to withdraw that and pay the taxes on it. Over there, I get small positions, usually somewhere between 10 and 50 shares, small positions that I'm still actually building out. And those are meant to hold long term. And I consider the things in there lower risk, more like guaranteed things that are going to do well over the long term, okay? So this is going to be geared towards long term. Most of the things I talk about are the things that I'm swing trading and stuff. But I want to talk about Ford and General Motors. Okay, Ford, the ticker symbol is F, and GM, the ticker symbol is GM. All right. Yeah, I know they're not super exciting plays. Okay, and we're all like hyper focused right now on these startup EV companies and stuff that's going to run up and everything. But I just want to put the bug in your ear and have you to think about Ford and GM, okay? And I want to just say some things about it. These two companies are the main staples in the U.S. automotive industry, okay? The government has bailed them out. The government is not going to allow them to fail. They are safe investments, even though the balance sheets don't look real great and they're in debt and all that kind of stuff, okay? They're still relatively safe investments, okay? And I feel like that right now they're really being overlooked because everybody, like I said, is hyper-focused on these exciting EV companies. But make no mistake about it, Ford and GM are pushing hard towards electrification, okay? They see what's coming. GM, they have Cruise that they own, and I can't think of the name of the company off the top of my head, but there's a company that they have that is rapidly expanded to thousands of employees who are solely focusing on autonomous driving, okay? Ford and GM are coming in this space. And when we think about that, we have to think we would be remiss to not acknowledge that Ford and GM have phenomenal brand recognition, okay? If somebody can go get a Mustang or a Camaro that's electric, that's a big deal, guys, when you have that kind of brand recognition. And not to mention the fact that they have factories all over. They have huge factories. They have so much infrastructure that when they're ready to release these vehicles and they start releasing them, they're going to be able to do it fast, like a lot faster than a Lordstown Motors, a lot faster than these other startup EV companies. And when you think about some of the popular companies, like think about NIO. NIO is backed by the Chinese government, okay? The government has already bailed them out and not allowed them to fail. And that's the same situation that we have in GM and Ford. Ford right now trading around $11 or $12. GM trading around $55, okay? Now, I know that Ford was a lot cheaper not too long ago, and somebody actually mentioned in the comments that they like Ford as an investment and they're invested in it. And, personally, I'm a Chevy guy. And so maybe that might influence the decision about which company you might think about investing in. But I just think that there's a lot higher probability that these other newer startups could potentially not do well and fail, whereas GM and Ford, like, they're not going anywhere, guys. You know what I mean? So we're talking about short-term plays. I like all of these other EV companies, and I do think that they'll do well over the long term as well, at least a portion of them. But when you think about it, like, they're trading at really expensive prices relative to earnings, relative to the amount of cars that they're actually putting out there. Most of them are not putting cars out at all yet, but yet they're trading for higher valuations than Ford and GM. You know what I mean? So it's something to consider. It's something to consider of maybe just adding some of them to a long-term portfolio. I'm considering it myself, starting to build small positions in them for long-term holds, while I'm at the same time playing in all of these other companies and looking for big run-ups and profits. Okay. Now, I don't want to suggest that all of these other companies are going to fail, because chances are they won't. Or some of them at least are going to survive through the next 3 to 5 years. Okay. But the reality is that Ford and GM are coming. Okay. They're putting a lot of resources into pumping out EVs. And when you're talking about a Ford F-150, a Ford Mustang, you're talking about a Camaro, you know what I mean? When you're talking about these types of vehicles, they have all of this recognition. Like me, I'm a Camaro nut. Older Camaros, okay? But I love Camaros. And if I could get an EV Camaro that does 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds or some shit like that, I'm liable to jump on that, guys. Okay? So you might just think about that. Right now, everybody is hyper-focused on all these other ones. And that's good when you're looking at the short term. But I think that Ford and GM are being overlooked in this space. And I think that no matter what happens, even if their product is inferior to some of these other products, the sheer size of the operation, the fact that they have so much money and resources to dump into EVs, and the brand recognition. I mean, they provide jobs and have factories all over the United States. They have huge brand recognition. They have lots of money and resources to throw at it. And I just think that it would be a mistake to completely sleep on it. And I think that everybody is sleeping on it. I think that a lot of people are so consumed by the hype and so consumed by the newness of the EVs, and their brain is going towards these new companies. This is the future. These are the future. And to a certain extent, I think that's true. But I think that even if GM and Ford were to put out an inferior product, just the sheer size of the organizations, the sheer amount of brand recognition, it means that they are going to be the major competitors in this space. Okay, I mean, they're going to start putting out these cars and trucks real soon. Probably on the same timeline as a lot of these other companies. A year. These are going to start dropping, maybe sooner. And if you think about it, Lordstown Motors has a big old plant in the U.S. They're going to be able to kick out I don't know the exact numbers, 50, 60,000 vehicles a year, 100,000 maybe. GM's going to 10x that. As soon as they start coming out with them, they're going to be able to just crank out the vehicles. And they've got the resources, they have the dealer relationships, they've got it all, guys. And all they need is to catch up on the technology. And I think it's coming. I think GM and Ford are coming to this space. Does that mean we're going to see them double or triple? Maybe not, probably not. But there is a possibility that at a certain point in a year or so, when all of these vehicles start to hit the market, that there will be a realization by a lot of investors that, hey, you know, these guys are really kicking it out, and they could flock to them. And I have no doubt that they will go up over time. But the question is, are they going to double and triple? Maybe, guys, it's possible. Because when people start to realize how overvalued, fundamental wise, a lot of these other companies are, and how undervalued, specifically by investors, that we're not looking at them, all of our eyes are not on them, that there could be a shift. Could be a shift in big money, and stuff could start rolling and leaning more towards these staples of the American auto industry. So it's just something for you to think about. Do some research, think about it for yourself, you know, kind of mull the possibilities of what is likely to happen eventually, and you know, decide for yourself. But I believe that I will be starting small positions in these companies in my long-term portfolio. So do with that what you will. Thanks for watching, and again, hit the subscribe button if you like the content. If you think I'm providing you value, and comment down below. Let me know what you think about the future of the EV market, and whether or not Ford and GM are going to still continue to be the main players when the real changeover starts to happen.